First Generation Millionaire Podcast, talking about money, talking about being a millionaire, talking about being the first one in your family to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Jada Renee, CEO at INDI Media. Also running the First Generation Millionaire clothing line, really, the concept line that's been released and moving forward right now. Also got Willie B in here, repping himself and the Q brand, of course. And myself, y'all know me as Stacy Locke, all them other monikers. Repping the Days, repping the Q brand in here. Talking about some business, man. So how y'all feeling today, man? Jada, how you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing, honestly really tired, but it's okay because I do a lot of things.
This is true.
It's a somber feeling for me, seeing the economic and health landscape of society at its current moment.
It's pretty scary.
Just to let you guys know, I guess we're recording this on March 15th, 2020. So if you look back through your history books, you'll see that this is the day that Governor Mike DeWine put Ohio on basically a 75 to 80% lockdown. All bars and restaurants are closed. All gatherings of 100 people or more is banned, with the exception of religious gatherings and gatherings to exercise the First Amendment right, which maybe we should have some protests. I don't know.
Protests? I mean, honestly, I feel like it's a great move by DeWine to try and look out for the public, look out for the health. Though I feel like this shows some flaws. This shows definite flaws in our system right now, because this small movement of trying to contain a virus and watch out for the health of others is causing a major problem in terms of economic stability within the community, and within small businesses and small business owners and stuff like that. Dog, it's crazy how it's affecting them on such a large scale. When something as small as just shutting down for a couple weeks, you think about something as small as shutting down your entire source of income for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? How much that can really affect somebody. It seems like we just seem ill prepared for all this stuff. You know what I mean? The public and business wise. So
and this is why the First Generation Millionaire brand was created, to shed light on how to get prepared when you don't understand what you are not in control of. But what you can be in control of is your finances and your financial landscape for how you want to live and shape your life.
Mm-hmm. Fun fact, roughly 6 out of 10 Americans cannot handle a $400 emergency. And that is not necessarily alarming. It's a stat that's been around for quite a while.
Makes sense, actually.
But if you think about that, if you get a couple speeding tickets,
dude, that's
most people
that's $400. One speeding ticket. Oh. One speeding ticket could end up being $400 in the end, because of the fact of all the expenses that come along with it. If you actually end up trying to fight it or something like that, you don't know what comes along with it. But a car repair, you know what I mean? That affects you trying to get to work. You know what I mean? You talk about anything like that. You talk about you also mentioned how you've been seeing this happen a lot around you. That mentality of, that I'm broke mentality, but they still spending between $200 to $250 on something cosmetic or something that's unnecessary.
Shoes.
Shoes.
Right.
It could be shoes. It could be makeup. It could be bags. It could be clothes.
But look, that goes into poverty consciousness, which is the whole point of why I feel like definitely our generation thinks off that impulse. They don't have any other thought stopping that first impulse by thought.
They don't know how else to spend their money. When I get money, this is what I do with it. You know what I mean? You don't think about, when I get money, I invest in it. I look for something future. Or I get money, I save it, because it feels good to save. I see what happens when you save money. They never did it. They don't know anybody that saved. They know people that when they get money, they ball out. So I'm going to ball out.
And if you don't know anybody, that means nobody around you can teach you, because nobody knows.
It's just facts, man. But then again, at one point, do you stop? I've been thinking about this a lot lately, because I do see how much of an effect your environment has on your scope of things and your financial literacy and the way you look at money, the way you handle money.
Right.
But at one point, man, you gotta look at it man, okay, clearly something isn't working. You know
what am I doing wrong?
We all broke.
Right.
I'm following you, but you still broke.
Right,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? So and my mom broke, my dad broke, but I'm doing what they did, 'cause that's all I know. Obviously you're gonna be broke too. You know what I mean? So at one point, do you look at that and say, okay, let me try and learn. Let me take a moment and try and push myself forward. You know what I mean, on my own.
I think the problem lies where we don't know what questions to ask.
That's fair.
So I still remember when I was in my early 20s, and one of my bosses sat me down and he explained compound interest to me, and I'm like, I don't understand how this is applicable.
Yeah.
No, it's basically
Real shit.
and we don't know what questions to ask, and I kind of left that whole time thinking like, oh, that's really cool. I would love to do that. I don't know how.
I don't know how to
And
use it.
so you don't know who to talk to. You don't know what question to ask. So you can be in the room with the person that has all the answers, but if you don't know who to ask and what to ask, it doesn't matter that you're in the room with the right person.
It's a really good
Exactly.
point. It's a really good point.
That's about putting yourself in position as well. So I think you should break down what compound interest is, because another point of this podcast is to educate the people, because like the language that we're about to be using, I'm pretty sure the listeners
Can you
like,
break it down
first
in
time.
layman's terms?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So basically, compound interest is a thing that can either work for you or against you. So for instance, if I got $100, right?
Yep.
Interest is essentially the value of whatever I invested my money in increasing. So if it increased by 10%, let's just keep it real easy here. That means say it compounds yearly. That means at the end of that year, I got $110.
Yep.
Now the problem is a lot of people need to learn to like reinvest the interest, which is called pretty much dividend reinvestment. And when it comes to the stock market, that means you go into that next year with that $110. And this is if you didn't put no more money in.
Yeah, right.
That means you went in.
Pure interest.
Exactly. Which means if you went into that year with $110 and you made 10% on that again, you made an extra $11. So now you got $121 at the end of that year because it's compounding annually. So it gets to a point where if you allow your money to grow for you and you let it build, that works exponentially, and the money that you get makes more money for you time after time. Yep. I remember a quote from Warren Buffett basically talking about the problem with investing is people don't want to get rich slow. And I still remember my commencement address from when I graduated from Kent. I graduated from Stark, though.
Yeah.
And basically, he was saying how life is kind of like a get rich slow thing. And some of the wealthiest people that you know in the world didn't hit that wealth factor until they got later. We look at Jay-Z right now, and he's 50, and he just made $1 billion.
True.
When he started out, this dude had maybe a couple million. A couple million don't compare to $1 billion in any way, shape, or form.
And he got in the game in his 30s.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he also started off on his own. He was also one of those. He had a very first generation millionaire mentality when he get into the game. He took his time with it and did it the right way. Man was like 26, dropping his debut album on his own. You know what I mean? And move forward with that, and didn't do. And even when his branding was the same way, he was like, "I know this is gonna work. Get a formula." You know
And that goes into the statement you made about people not really knowing like what to do. The answer is planning. Like you have to create a plan. Like when you see that your environment is not up to par based on financial situations, or your family is not up to par based on teaching you how to balance your finances, like something has to click in your brain that says, okay, I have to plan on how to get myself out of the situation and how to basically create a plan that's going to plan my life differently from what is like literally happening right now in this moment. And that, in my opinion, based off what's working for me, is like literally manifestation, like taking time to, if I could just be as simple and honest, sit down and close your eyes and think about what you want and focus on it with the most purest intention of the thought, and work after you open your eyes, like physically work in your body, in your day, in your, everyday routine, work to make those things happen. And it is about a slow grind, because like that vision took, probably less than a minute to pop up in your head, but that's not going to be in reality. Like you got to take those steps.
Two things that's really dope about what you said is essentially like the manifestation facet of it. And people don't understand how powerful the law of attraction really is. Now, of course, the law of attraction really only works when you put in the actual work that follows up with it. But starting your day with a manifestation or a meditation, I know for Lent, what I kind of did is make sure I'm starting every morning with meditation and just clearing things out and letting things be open and letting the thoughts that come to me. And when I notice that they come to me, focus on my mantra again. And And there's power in that. And then also channeling that and using that throughout your day through your slow grind, which is the second thing that you brought up, which I thought was really important. It's very necessary because a fast grind leads to a burnout. A slow grind leads to a consistent run. And we always talk about, especially with the pass and the nip, how the marathon continues. And it's funny how people don't understand that a marathon is something that's totally different than a sprint.
Yes.
Man,
A sprint,
marathon is the most difficult race to run.
exactly. And when you think about a marathon, you're preparing for a marathon. You understand that the marathon has peaks and it has valleys, and you can't just start off your marathon like, I'm going full bore. Like, hold on there, buddy. You can't go ahead and just do that.
Right.
You have to understand the slow grind.
Right.
And for reference, like a sprint is like, how far is a sprint? Like 100 meters?
Yeah, 100.
You can see 100 meters. You can probably shout to somebody 100 meters away from you. A marathon is 26 miles.
Fam.
You know what I mean?
Man, with not just you in
26
that
miles.
race, it's a couple people in that race.
That's a nice little drive. You feel me? That's a nice drive, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let alone to try and run that yourself and try and run that quickly. You know what I mean? It's not about rushing. It's not about all that stuff. Is about getting it done. You know what I mean? Do it the right way.
You know what I think is funny about a marathon that people don't put into the perspective of life? We talk about a marathon continues and we talk about like racing, how we got beat people. But I'm like, in a marathon, there's an opportunity for everybody to finish strong.
Yes.
Man.
And if we're really talking about a marathon, that means that if you see somebody lagging behind, you can still be running towards the goal and motivate somebody else and let them know that, hey, we may not finish and get to the
Right.
goal at the same time, but you better finish.
That's the
And
one
I'm going to
thing,
hold you accountable. And then what needs to happen in our community is holding everybody accountable through
Exactly.
this marathon because we all need each other. And when we all get to the finish line, that is a motivation to even go further the next time.
Exactly.
Yes.
I agree.
We're
That's
in
one
the
thing.
Black People's Marathon right
Yeah,
now.
the culture behind marathons is to always beat yourself. You know what I mean? Beat your last self. You know what I'm saying? Going in the next time is always do better than you did last time. That's the idea of running marathons. You know what I mean? So the whole culture behind that goes so much deeper than thinking about, just pacing and all that stuff. But it's about just doing better. You know what I mean? Being better than you
Right.
were before. So I mean, and that's the one thing about the First Generation Millionaires. Like this is a marathon. It is a everyday situation. Each day you have to wake up with
Man.
this mentality. I need to be able to move forward with my goal in mind. Like you said, getting up and reminding yourself, you know what I mean? This is what I care about. This is my priority. You know what I mean? I don't need distractions pulling my mind out of that because
Man.
you had a fucked up day. Or
Seriously.
a fucked up night, or somebody told you some shit the day before and you going into the next day still thinking about it and you moving about your energy weird
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? Sit down. Like you said.
Seriously.
Especially at this age. Like I know a lot of people that are listening to this is probably early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s. But in this process, you're trying to make something happen. And you focus and you grind it. And you want it to happen today. But the thing is, like, even if it doesn't happen today, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean you can't still put work in to make it happen tomorrow or the day after. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
This is the grind, man. It's really a grind. You got to have the mentality for it, and you got to have the grit and the determination to really keep moving when stuff does not seem like it's moving. You know,
Yeah.
Especially right now in the midst of all this stuff. I don't mean to keep bringing it back, but like the coronavirus situation, I got a lot of business owners around me who are feeling this stuff. A lot of people who work in a lot of very peculiar work where it's contract work, where they have the checks are built off of the work they do. You know what I mean? They're being affected by this. And the thing is, like, this stuff is of course, it's gonna be bumps in the road to be that first generation millionaire. Those bumps in the road does not mean that the marathon is over, you know?
Right.
And that's the one thing that people have to keep in mind is that this stuff is temporary. I don't know how long it will last, but in my mind, I feel it. I wholeheartedly believe it is temporary and things will get bounced back eventually. Just be
Definitely.
prepared to bounce back when it's time to bounce back.
Right.
You know?
Along with that, though, I feel like what I keep saying, what I've been saying since this started, is in order to counteract things that we do not have control over, especially since we talking first generation millionaires, entrepreneurs, business people, we have to think smarter and think ahead and think like the people and the companies and entities that we're trying to aspire to be. Because those people are not panicking right now.
Yeah.
Those people are not in a frenzy. Those people are not waiting for toilet paper. Those people are chilling and their households are lit and they are okay. And it's because of the way they position themselves. And we don't have to go deep into, generational wealth on how that happens on that side.
Yeah.
It's at this point and in this age, it's about knowledge. And we have the technology to access the knowledge. And in my opinion, it's like, yeah, we can focus on being millionaires and generalizing the word millionaire and making it be like a thing, almost like a cool party to go to. But you don't become a millionaire just by like, in this conversation basically like doing contract work. Like contract work is important work. I do it all the time. But at the same time, what I just had to do was realize like, okay, at some point I gotta go another way because I'm still doing contract work with the people who being paid by the big contract. So I'm trying to get to that big contract and get a contract with that contract. So that's how we got to start thinking, because we black and we gonna always technically metaphorically be at the low level of the totem pole. When we get the money, it's not just like, okay, cool, go put it in your account. Like, no, invest it. Like, it can't just stop it. Okay, Friday is payday. Yeah, turn up. No, like that's not acceptable no more.
How many movies have we watched that have reinforced that stereotype to our community?
One thing.
You see what I'm saying?
There's not a lot of media to reinforce the idea, but that's literally why we're here. You know what I mean? Because there is no media right there to try and reinforce that. So this is.
But with that, it goes back to the taking accountability, because it's 2020. Why are we still so focused and attached to the media? We shouldn't even have as much emotional attachment to the media as we do still. Like,
that's the thing. Like when you look at the media, like that's your gateway. You know what I mean? That's how you find out about people who doing it right, like Nip. And you find out about bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right, and you have to be able to feel which one is right. Like Nipsey feels genuine, and some of this stuff don't feel genuine, and you know which is propaganda and which is real.
That's the thing. Propaganda in itself is the intention is to mislead and deceit. So it's like it's a battlefield. You know what I mean? You gotta have mental media literacy to be able to read through that shit and you got to be able to take in, like, because at this point, like, you learn this from being in the media. You know what I mean? From being that person that was creating these messages. You know what I mean? You have a whole different eye. You catch it like a lot quicker than other people because you was that on the other side of the metaphorical pen. You know what I mean? The other side of it, like actually doing that shit.
Right.
A lot of people, this stuff, they just consumers.
And you phrase that perfectly as far as how like media is a message, right?
Right.
So even if we go back to what was our original media that got us through, it was pretty much our storytelling and our music that got us through. Before it was on CDs, before people was like rappers and singers, literally how we survived were songs that told us how to get through the situation. Stories that got us through situations. So we have to be our own media, and we have a new We have a way of showing media now where it's through digital images, it's through digital music, it's through podcasts, it's the sharing and, for lack of a better phrase, spreading of information to those who may not know the word or the phrase to Google. Google is a powerful tool, but unless you know what to ask it, it ain't gonna tell you nothing.
Right.
If you sit with a blank Google toolbar or search bar all day, you're not gonna get any information out of Google.
Same deal with being around the right people. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're around them if you don't know what to say. You know what I mean? Just being around them and just observing is one thing. But like, if you're not doing something right, then you're probably not gonna be around them for long. You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out what you're doing, what they doing, and how to transfer that shit to your life in order to be successful. You know what I mean? A lot of times, like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? You just do what you've been known. You just do what you think is right because you've seen other people do that shit, and it does not necessarily mean it's correct. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It does not mean it's right.
And you can't be scared to like not be around these people,
or take the risk to do something different,
right?
For yourself.
Because you could keep those people around and just try to teach them, new ways. And I mean, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't work.
Sometimes it's a liability.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like that becomes more than a bump in the road. That becomes something that you forcing upon yourself for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because those people have to want it for themselves.
The funny thing about assets and liability is if you indeed are the asset, somebody is going to be the liability in some way, shape, or form. It just is contingent upon whether that person no longer wants to be a liability anymore. When you have information on something you want to teach somebody, of course they're leeching that off of you.
That's an investment as well, though.
Exactly. And that's why I think people need to understand that it is okay to not know. And we kind of, for lack of a better phrase, put that down in our society. We'd be like, oh, well, why is you buying this? Why are you doing that? Oh, that ain't cool. This person's trying to invest in themselves and get to a higher point in life, and they're getting told by their peers, that what they're doing, what they're trying to do as far as self-advancement is not cool.
Saving money,
and that reinforcement that negative reinforcement is not. It is negative reinforcement is just as powerful as positive reinforcement.
Exactly.
And you have to make sure that you have the powerful reinforcement around you.
Definitely.
Again, I would say that again comes right back to your environment. You know, whether that's the homies, whether it's family, you know what I mean? For homies, friends, family, they can all be toxic and they can all be helpful. You know what I mean? Keep the right people around you because those people are going to bring in that right energy. If you have the right energy coming into you and you're coming over around you and stuff like that, you're able to keep your vision clear of distractions and all that stuff, then you can think about, you know what I mean? Like you get up in the morning, what are you focusing on?
No, seriously.
You know what I mean?
And that goes into that law of attraction too, because once you start to like flip that switch in your mind, you will attract those people, like those places, those things, that money, like whatever you are wanting, you're gonna attract it. Like for the longest, I was looking for like people to just understand indie. Now I got people understanding indie. Then I was looking for a certain amount of team members. Now I got certain amount of team members, and I was looking for a certain amount of just like acceptance within the city of like Cleveland in the nonprofit sector. Like now I got that, but that stuff literally came like within a matter of years, not even months.
And it took time. And
Right.
it was a matter of changing your algorithm.
Right.
When you go watch a Netflix series or you go watch a show on YouTube, what it starts doing is recommending stuff similar to what you were already watching that you hadn't seen before.
Right.
But it is assuming that you would like this. And then you click on it, you're like, oh, I like this too. So when you change your internal algorithm, you start to beget the things around you that you need that you didn't know that you needed before, and it helps to progress you further. But the same thing happens if you watch a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube or Netflix that you really wasn't interested in, and you just let it play.
Right.
And now you're like, where are these recommendations coming from?
Right.
Thing, man. You cannot be lazy with that. That's the one thing. Like you get to the point. And that's the thing. You gotta be clear about that. When you say first generation millionaire, it's not about like, oh, I'm a millionaire now. It's over. It's about being financially stable, financially independent, and actually being financially literate to be able to move forward through life past that millionaire mark, past that. You know, whatever your goal could be 10 million. Your goal can be 500,000.
Exactly.
It don't matter. As long as you hit it and you know what you're doing and you know why you got there, you know how to do it again if you need to.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That is where we at right now.
That's the
right
thing.
now,
That's the key. It's about doing it again. Like you got to know how to create a formula and copy and paste it.
make sure that shit works. You know what I mean? And be able to pass it. You know what I'm saying? Because now there is no more first generation millionaire. There's only second generation and third generation and fourth generation. And that is the goal.
And that's why this is for us. Because what we don't have is the tips and rules to create the first generation millionaires.
Exactly.
We didn't get our 40 acres and a mule. You feel me? So we got to create that for ourselves.
We almost got it and it got taken away 2 weeks later.
You feel me?
It got
You
taken
feel
away
me?
2 weeks later.
Oh my God.
That's a whole different story, though. That's a whole different law.
Like, geesh.
That's the mid 1800s. That's a whole different story. We'll tell y'all. But what I also find interesting is the fact that many people should really understand that once they get to a certain level or a certain goal, that they need to share that wealth. Now, I'm not even talking monetary. I'm talking knowledge-wise. And that's what we're trying to do right now. But the fact of the matter is there are things that we don't know.
Yes.
That people who are older than us, wiser than us, they understand these things. But the point that you made, talking about how we need to understand the rules and regulations of this game, the rules to the game change.
Yes.
The rules. Let me put it like this: for everybody that's an NBA fan, I know the NBA ain't doing their season right now, but there was a point in time where the NBA ain't have a 3-point line. So that means the rules to the game changed. And
You
lo
gotta
and behold,
adjust.
decades later, we got Steph Curry, where that's all they doing is
And they
shooting
about to
threes.
change it again. You know what I mean? Because it's obsolete. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you
things are
adjust.
changing.
You have to
Exactly.
You
adjust.
have to adjust. The one thing I was talking to an older cat, I sound old, but I was talking to an older cat, and I was saying, what are some things that you would want to know? He's like, man, the rules to this whole economics game changed from when I was your age, and there's rules and stuff that I don't know now that people your age pick up on, and we don't know nothing about that. And I'm like, wow, I've never had somebody older than me saying like, yo, the rules that I had are no longer the same. And basically telling me when I get his age, they not going to be the same. Which means you need to continually pay attention to how the rules change and don't be afraid to peep game from somebody who's younger than you.
That's
Seriously.
the one thing, man. That's the pride
Seriously,
factor.
I
That's
keep
one thing
some
with
young
community.
interns.
One thing about
Like-
the community, man, is that we find is this trend of pride being like, well, I know I got the answer, so this is all me over here.
Ooh, Jesus.
All this money, and people think there ain't enough to go around, dog.
Yes,
Look at
it's
these,
because we still in the mindset of never having nothing.
man, dog. There's definitely a lot, more than enough to go around for everybody.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you position yourself to understand, like, the way the system works, literally the way the world works, to put it in layman's terms, financially, then you will understand that this is not even a money game. It's a numbers game. It's a digits. It's an algorithm game. It's a did I pull in and pull out at the right time game. Like that's the type of game we playing. And
you gotta read it.
You gotta read it and you gotta know it and you gotta feel it. Like sometimes it's not gonna come with somebody telling you what's up. Like you really gotta know how this is going. It's intuitive, like
it's your
especially
money.
if we talking about being an entrepreneur,
a
millionaire. Like once you get deep into this, you realize this is paper. I can rip this shit. Like this ain't.
People don't understand that Germany had a hyperinflation problem prior to Hitler's reign, and that caused a whole bunch of their economic situations that were negative because people were just walking around with piles of money and barrels and whatnot, paying for stuff because of inflation. They had just printed way too much money. But when it comes to as far as the investing part that Jada was talking about, I think the name of the game is what do you own? What do you own and what are your assets? People think that they have assets around them, but their assets are actually depreciating in value every single day.
Or it's actually owned by somebody else.
Exactly. And they're under the facade that they own it, that is theirs. But if you miss a payment, guess what? That's gone. If you miss a couple payments, it's gone.
Like my car out there. My car, I don't own that. My name is on it. It ain't mine, no. You know what I mean? If I don't pay that note this month or next month, it ain't mine no more. It's gonna be taken away. You know what I mean?
No, real seriously. Shit? And that's a comment I wanted to add about the stuff you were talking about like our generation and like what we do with contracts and stuff. Like a lot of these content creators and stuff, we can rely a lot on social media to give us our checks, but at the same time, we got to think about how the world secured money before social media was here, and it was land. So if we know now how to navigate checks off of social media, okay, that's cool. That should be a fun money game. That should almost be like something that's fun to do. Now, okay, we know how to do that. Don't focus on that no more as much. Focus on how to get into real estate. Like, simple. Like, because y'all over here creating content, why not own the studio now? Seriously, like, just think in that realm. If we already figured out how to tap into getting all the followers, we figured out how to tap into branding ourselves appropriately, boom, that ain't gonna stop. You already got your followers. It's lit now. Focus on how to keep them going in another type of way, though. How do we capitalize on that without having to, like, always go and follow and search on social media? Because what if social media stops? Like
exactly. You know what I'm saying? What if it does stop? And I think our ancestors, especially the black intellects of the late and the early 1800s, they understood how powerful land was, and that's why they wanted to get that bill passed in, I believe, 1864, 1865. And really, if you think about it in this economic situation right now, guess who's probably cool? The people who own land, because
Listen,
they getting their rent checks coming in.
I just said those people are not worried.
Boom,
their families chilling. Like,
my homie just got a new apartment, and I'm like, bet, cool. But I'm like, man, during this whole COVID-19 spiel, guess what? They happy they got some
new
more
tenants.
paper coming in.
New tenants, bro.
Some new tenants.
Same here, bro. Feel it.
it's all happening.
So do you think some of our music reinforces a bad mindset towards things? Like, even if you take Ari Lennox's new apartment, it's fun. That song is, I always felt was kind of funny because, like, my one homie, he got a new apartment. He was like, bro, I played that song as soon as I got the keys to that joint. And I'm sitting here thinking, like,
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe, but it's like, does that song subconsciously reinforce the fact
song
that, like,
actually talks about the idea of financial independence and financial literacy of living on, and like the financial tribulations and trials you deal with of living on your own, and having to deal with your own bills and having to budget your own money actually. So I actually think like that, her in particular, not so much.
So much.
She does not reinforce those type of negative stereotypes, but she also isn't a pop artist. I don't hear her songs on the radio.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And that's one thing, like, she's popular within the community if you know type of shit. You know what I mean?
That's real.
But that's the thing. Most of these artists, man, that push a positive message like that, they not gonna be on the radio because that shit ain't popping, bro. It's not fun. It's not
be on
exciting.
social media,
It's not
though.
fun as it not.
If you hear somebody like the Baby or Lil Baby,
We like the things that's not good for us.
or Travis Scott, you know what I mean? You see what they wearing. You know what I mean? You look at Ari Lennox. What is she wearing? You know what I mean? She's not wearing some super flashy shit. She's wearing that's her whole brand is being human.
Yeah,
is being real.
That's real.
That's why if you know, you know. You know what I mean? Same way a lot of them artists over there. You know, all the artists that talk about stuff that she's talking about, these positive, these realistic views on money,
Right.
these realistic views on life. You know what I mean? She's talking about how she about to cut her lights off because she don't want to pay her light bill. She used to be scared of the dark. She ain't scared of the dark no more because that light bill. That
Man.
light bill woke her up. She's like, man, I don't want to pay for them lights no more. You know what I mean? That's a real thought. You know what I mean? That you have as an adult trying to be on your own for the first time and having a budget. You know what I mean? So that's a different level. You think about people that talking about how they going out and dropping 10K, 20K, 30K. You know what I mean? These people are talking about dropping all this money on jewels or money or clothes or whatever, or people.
Yep.
Even other people, that song dropped out. Yachty looking good like Oprah's bank account, talking about like, I mean, I don't care,
I hate that video.
whatever about her. I fly her out. Maybe she a trick. I don't know. We gonna find out.
We gonna
That's what
find
he said.
out, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, damn, we just gonna spend bread on this girl, this cuz. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's like those are different mentalities, bro. What are you trying to accomplish? You know what I mean? You got somebody that's
They
the new
don't
apartment
know.
scheme is to accomplish independence. That's the whole idea behind that song. The whole idea behind a lot of that. Behind a lot of that album is finding independence within yourself. You know what I mean?
I
Away
agree
from
with
other
that.
people, away from other things, bro. It's about finding independence within yourself. And that's one concept that isn't pushed around commercially. You know what I mean? You find a lot of stuff being pushed around commercially is finding yourself within others. And finding yourself within brands. Finding yourself within
agree.
events. Within moments, you know what I mean?
Right.
Within like, oh,
Culture.
we popped this bottle around the corner on Friday. Was you there? Type shit. You know what I mean? That's a moment. You might have dropped $200 for that moment, just for the bottle.
Man.
Let alone how much you paid to get in. Let alone for the fit you wore. Let alone for the
And
we
you
wore
broke
for the picture.
when you go home.
And you sleeping on the floor at the homie spot. You know what I mean? And it be like that. Half the clothes.
And you ain't bring no girl home.
Do you feel me though? You know what I mean? But it's priorities though. He's like, man, he came home with his niggas. He ain't worried about no hoes coming home because he was worried about the picture.
You spent all that money. You ain't even bring a girl home. I'm
it's
upset.
priorities, dude. You think about some people are worried about short-term goals, and that's that I got 300 likes on Instagram, and this girl was DMing me. You know what I mean? Long-term, she ain't about to be fucking with him next week because she find out where that nigga live. You know what I mean?
Man.
None of these niggas that like him or liking this picture know who this nigga is. You know what I mean? Or know whoever this person is. I don't even gotta be like a nigga doing this shit. It could be
Right.
whoever trying to flex for a reaction.
Right.
You know what I mean? It isn't real. And that's the mentality that needs to be pushed is that a lot of this stuff, this reactionary shit, is not real. And when it comes down to you actually needing support or needing help or needing somebody to be there for you in general or having to be family or need somebody there. You know what I mean? Anything that you're looking for, a belonging, a sense of companionship, it won't be there. You know what I mean? Because you're not flexing. Because that's not you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 'cause social media is a lie at this point.
It is.
Like,
So how do we get people to see the forest when they standing right in front of one of the trees?
they
If you-
gotta see it. It's
if
gotta
you
be
are-
like Bird Box. Open your eyes. Like,
If you are within the forest, you can't see. If you are standing up to the tree, you can't see the forest, bro.
My
You have to
point.
completely remove them, and that's the problem with it now, bro. It's the exposure. You see people like Pop Smoke. R.I.P. to that man. He was flexing. You know what I mean? And look what happened, bro. They put these in perspective. Niggas was like, stop flexing on Instagram. Stop doing
but
it.
boom. But with that, because if it's a party, because it was a party,
Yes.
I'm just putting out my address to the party. Y'all know we having a party today.
And that's true too.
We
But
putting
also,
it out.
But also, if you have, that's also where he was living. That's a different way.
This is true. This is where he
This
was
is-
living. He was having a house
But he
party
was
at his
flexing.
house.
He was flexing though.
But he had the right to flex. I just did
And I
all this
feel
shit
that.
to get my money out of my city
I feel
where
that.
I am stressed the fuck out. I probably grew up with hella bullshit, drugs, neighborhood violence.
Bet.
I am the only probably first generation millionaire in my family
This is
to
exactly
get this
why He
bread.
didn't see the risk though. There's a total risk associated with that was not seen because of lack of experience. Because nobody knew to tell him about the risk.
Man.
There was a risk there. He ain't never been there before. He ain't never
Seriously.
known nobody. None of his niggas been there before. Nobody's been there except real niggas. And them niggas, if
Right.
you're talking to T.I., you're talking to Nip, talking to anybody, talking to Travis,
Man.
they would have been like, yo.
But
Chill,
then he didn't even get the chance to get
Because
to
he was
those
doing it
niggas
'cause
though.
He was living it. He was being in it. You know what I mean? That's the risk you run by going in there blind. You don't know what you running into. You know, you see the trees, bro. You know, you see the trees. You don't see the forest. You don't know what you actually in. You know what I'm saying? You have to get somebody that's been through the forest completely to pull you out and be like, look at what you're doing. Look where you are. You know what I mean? You got to go this way. Go this way. Do not go that way.
But
you know
how
what
the
I mean?
fuck? How can you see the forest?
You can't.
Oh, how can
That's
you?
why you need people around you who
But
know.
I'm
only
saying,
way-
how
the
can
only
you
way
see
to
the
see-
tree without seeing the forest?
The only way to really see the forest is to go through it.
If you're
But it's
in it-
dangerous to go through the forest.
If you standing right next to this tree and you're looking at this tree, you know what I mean? Like, okay, well, I see this tree, but you don't see everything. It's like, look, it's like being this close this close to a painting. You know what I mean?
But I don't see all the little
You gotta
fibers
pull
that
it
made
back.
it into.
It's
Right.
It's like being
This
touching your
canvas.
nose to her nose. You know
Right,
what I mean?
yeah.
And you can't. You don't see her hair. You don't see you don't see the meaning behind it. You don't
Right.
see the colors.
Right.
All you see is like this weird colored blob. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't know what this is. You pull it out like, oh shit, this is a whole situation.
Right.
I didn't know this is what it was, but I shouldn't know because I'm just going through this for the first time. Pop Smoke, a young nigga going through this shit for the first time, just got bread. He made it out. You know what I mean? And he was working with people who have been out too. Travis made it out. You know what I mean? A lot of people made it out.
But boom. So my counteract on that is I am a very intuitive person, and I believe that these rappers are as well. Like, we are all from the same atom makeup. In my brain, I feel like these people know who is for them and who is not for them. It just takes a matter of time until I can have that time to assimilate and get these people either out of my way or move you
but even
somewhere
in this
else.
case, this was not directly where he like, this was a friend. This was not him. This was somebody else sharing a location and somebody else got it.
Right,
So
but I'm
like,
talking about people in terms of like influencing him to possibly go another direction in life. I feel like at a certain point where you're on that rise of getting this money in the first generation millionaire context we are right now, let's say I'm a rapper, I blew up. I'm literally in that realm of getting my money from my shows, getting my money from streams. I'm out here. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. That's what the universe has allowed me to experience. In my intuition, though, I know it's people watching. I know it's people mad and upset. I know it's people probably in my circle that's mad and upset. But you have to know that and trust that, even if it's a bad feeling. And you got to prepare yourself for that.
I think the problem lies when people allow the stepping stone to be the destination. Like, even when you think about, and I hate to use Jay-Z as an example, but I love to use Jay-Z as an example. But
he's just like that one off.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like
Jay-Z never saw music as the destination. It was a stepping
and that's
stone.
real.
Same with Diddy though. Same with Diddy.
Same with Diddy.
Same with 50 Cent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, music was never the destination.
Yeah.
It was
Same
a
with
stepping
Kanye.
stone to
Yeah.
help them get other businesses
Exactly.
and ownership of different businesses,
Same with Big Sean. Same with Nip.
different entities,
Yep.
and have different
Same with
investments.
Rick Ross.
Because then they get to a certain point, like if Jay-Z puts out an album, it's for fun.
Right,
Okay?
at this point, definitely.
He's on tour because
Just
it
'cause.
feels good.
He feels like it.
I want to perform.
Right.
But you want to know what? There was a time when he had to be on tour
Right.
to make money. He
Exactly.
had to sell records
He
to
had
make
songs
money.
with R. Kelly to try and spice up the game.
Man.
He had to wear all white on the yacht.
That's
with,
the Both
with
Worlds
UGK.
tour.
Yeah, he was-
But
he
if
had-
we talking about Pop Smoke in that regard, he ain't even
Yes.
get to that
he
point.
did not. He
Like,
did not. But the thing is, like, that's the thing is, like, it's extremely unfortunate in that case. But the thing is, that's the risk. I'm not just using I'm using him as a one-off in this
Right.
in this case because of the fact that it happens so often in different tiers too, at different levels in success too. A lot of people. It's a dude up in Michigan who just got caught for some gun charge. What's his name? 45. Shoot, what's his name? Forgot his name, but young dude coming up though. Named 45. I forgot his name. Named 45 something. But dude from Detroit just got caught up in a gun charge. You know what I mean? He was coming up about to pop. Got caught with little stuff like that. You look at a lot of rappers get caught with stuff like that.
TK.
Getting killed. Yup. You know what I mean? Getting killed. Getting caught up with police. And it's all because of inexperience and careless actions because they don't know what they're doing.
and gangs.
And that's because to me that's careless. To me that's careless when you have that much potential. To me that's dumb. You know what I mean? But
If you don't know, you got to put.
if you don't
man,
know,
listen.
you don't know. That's what I'm saying. Can you blame them? You know what I
Listen.
mean? If you don't know that you that hot, where niggas really scheming on you that much, or they about to come up and shoot you. If you don't know, you don't know. Sometimes you really be that hot and you don't fucking know. You know what I mean? Sometimes you really be
That's
jumping that
real.
hard when you don't know the police really looking at you like that. Niggas, the police listen to your music. You don't know that. You know what I mean? But like,
Man,
it's a part of awareness though. That's a part of awareness. I mean, listen, the way the internet is, Jada, you can. It almost fluctuates. Some days you might be hotter than others. You know what I mean? You might
Right.
be the hottest thing in the country right now.
But you gotta have another. Like, this is the point
Hey.
of this podcast right here. Is what I'm about to say. You have to have another eye. You have to have another ear.
Yeah.
You have to have another mind that is not involved in whatever y'all are using in your phone.
That's another wave, actually. When you
Like,
look at that stuff, look
The
at a lot of these
entertainment
people-
business is not inside of your phone.
Facts. When you look at a lot of these people, man, I mean, between your own eyes and having the people around you, the right team. You look at all these people, these artists that I named off. All these artists I named off. You know what I mean? Even and I didn't even name off Drake, but including Drake. Drake's one of those people too that use music as a springboard to get himself into other places. All these people have solidified teams around them. Like Jigga, you know what I mean? Solidified team. Diddy, solidified team. You know what I mean? Besides some people.
But it's a misconception right now getting into the game of music because like the entrance fee is to just want to be a rapper.
I feel like
that's not a high entrance fee.
That was a different wave. I mean, music was different 25 years ago. You know what I mean? When people was able to get in and do the way Diddy and Jay-Z did it. Even 10 years ago when Drake did it. You know, Drake had a different situation. Drake, I feel like, was peculiar in this situation because he had fame before. And he had this moniker about him. And everybody was like, oh, this Drake, this Jimmy from Degrassi, but he rapping. Oh, but it's actually kind of good. And they all listen, you know, it was just kind of different. You know what I mean? But a lot of these artists, man, even look at Kanye and stuff like that. A lot of these artists that did it that way, that I was naming off, they in the back end of their career. Rick Ross is in the back end of their career, bro. Even Nipsey, you know what I mean? He was like, Victory Lap was his. What do you say? Victory Lap was my fucking Thriller. I was gonna be it for a minute, bro.
Because he had put himself in position. That's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta put yourself in position. Like, even if you are trying to be a rapper and whatever pop, like,
it's not forever. You can't
gotta
rap forever,
put
dude.
yourself in position to know, like, all right, cool. Do a Roddy Ricch move, become popping, and then get into the weed business. Like, it's real simple. You could pick an avenue. You could, I don't know, create marshmallows if you want to. I don't know, but create what you want to create with music, and then whatever you rapping about, go invest in one of them things you talking about, and just make money from it.
Look at Cardi and Ty Dolla $ign. They didn't go into that route where they rapping about what they was doing, but they did say this stuff in their songs though, and in interviews. But they both are heavy in the real estate at this point because that's just forever money. Same with Mac Miller was doing that shit too. It's just you can't rap forever. You can't play basketball forever. You can't do this stuff forever. You have to find a way to make your money last forever.
Exactly.
You want your money to last, you gotta find a way to make it work. You know.
But what we have to do is create options other than music to choose first. Like we gotta teach the business of music because you might want to end up being the booking manager or the tour manager, like,
or past that.
You might want to be the CEO of the label,
or you might know somebody who fits it better than you. You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's the part of sharing the wealth. Like, okay, you gotta know how this shit works. So you can know where it fits. You know what I mean? You got somebody that works and they can fit in that piece. Put them there, and that's spreading the wealth. You know what I mean? Now you bringing it back to the community.
Exactly, because I mean, it's a puppet show right now in the entertainment industry. And they not really, you know, standing on their strings for too long. Like, it's
people like Nip way about it their own way. It's like, I'm just gonna do it me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna figure it out. And you look at a lot of these independent these labels. You know what I mean? It's crazy how it works. They got one person that signed her at a big label and then just come back and starting to sit by themselves. Everybody got their own label now. You know what I mean? It's just almost like fun thing to do. Like, I remember back when people first started doing it with Grand Hustle and stuff like that was first happening. Rock Nation was first going on. Good music. It was all crazy. And now it's just like every artist is just like, oh, like, I'm my own label now. You know what I mean?
Because they see the game. Like,
putting their niggas on.
The game is changing. They realize they can get the money themselves independently and do it from the mud independently. Like, without having to sign to a label, which is a very basic breakdown I just did. But it's just like,
yeah, if you own your publishing, I remember
rapping about their masters.
I remember Young Guru said a long time ago, publishing is the bread and butter of the music game. You can talk about getting money all you want and still end up in a Megan Thee Stallion type deal, and you don't know what you getting, and you don't know what you're not getting on the money side. And this is no shade to that at all, but it's kind of like, have we not learned from the lessons of the past to not just sign a piece of paper because the treasure seems like it looks good over here, the grass looks green over here?
They don't know what it looked like. That's the thing. J. Cole talked about this stuff before. The grass is supposed to be greener and everything that glitters ain't gold, but how you know until you got it? Like, how do you really know until you got it and be like, okay, I guess this ain't real, but I ain't never seen real gold before.
Right.
You show me some gold, tell me that's gold. Shit, might be gold.
Right. I don't know.
You tell me this is the best it gets. I never seen better. So how am I supposed to think? You know what I mean? I came from the mud.
Right.
You know what I mean? I never seen 10K. You know what I mean? Niggas get 10K commission checks, nigga. You supposed to be dropping these platinum records. They gave you 10 fucking K as an advance, and they took 80% of your income off streams. What did you make? You know what I mean? What did you make? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But you don't know no better. You made what you made. You ain't make shit. I made more than I ever made in my life.
Mm.
So to me, I'm eating, but I didn't know I could have made millions. I didn't know that. So it's like that's where it comes to the point of like financial literacy, understanding the situation and complexity of it, understand what you're walking into. You do not see the forest. She was in the middle. She was next to the tree. The tree was the 10K off that advance. She was like, man, I made it. This is it. This is what I came into the forest for.
But, cause man, if you will research the industry or the forest on the map,
you don't know your value.
But you have
look at
to.
that shit. You don't.
But
How?
listen,
How?
because you want to be whatever you are aspiring to be. It is your right. It is your.
If somebody
it's
shows
your
up,
duty to do your research and your due diligence to put yourself in the right
back to
position
your point you said earlier,
to get what you want to get.
If you get onto Google to try and do research and you don't know what to ask, what are you supposed to type in? If you got a white man walking up to you being like, I saw you perform there every day, you a star. I'm about to get you signed. And I got a contract right here. We can get you 10K like next week. What do? You know what I mean? You be like, oh shit, I'm about to get paid. Bet, because you the first one that said something to me, and I'm about to get paid. And then you do it, and then you actually start getting play, and then your shit start bumping. You know what I mean? You become this star off this little 10K you got. You're like, man, I got money in my pocket. I gave my mama $500.
Can I play devil's advocate?
Yeah.
So how did LeBron know not to take that Adidas check?
Because he had a lot of people. He had a coach. He had people that had been in the industry already, bro. You know what I mean? He had a whole different ball game. You know what I mean? LeBron being the best basketball player.
I'm just saying he had never seen that before.
But I understand that. He also made bad decisions. You know what I mean? In his first that lifetime deal with Nike, that may not be the greatest. That may not be the greatest deal. That may come down to bite him in the ass down the line. That's why he has so many other shit going on. Because he understands that might have been a mistake. Let me figure all this other shit out.
Part,
you know what I mean?
That deal came after he put himself in the proper position. Because what I'm not about to, I'm not giving excuses on this podcast. Like, I'm just not. Like, this is called the First Generation Millionaire. And I'm assuming that these listeners have already put themselves in the proper position to be able to receive these messages. And I just feel like you have no excuses to not research your industry. You have no excuses to not know. If the person with the shiny suit come in the contract, you should already know he's coming. You should already have known that he was going to be at your show.
That's
no, you don't know it's going to happen today, but what you in it for if you don't know?
Again, you look at that stuff, the person in the shiny suit, that you get that from media. That's from movies. You know what I mean? But you cannot take that as bonds. You don't know what to expect, Jada.
No, you don't know what to expect, but no, I'm not talking about movies. I'm talking about real life. This is real life.
But they don't know anybody in real life that's been through this shit before.
But no, right. But you know yourself, and you got your intuition.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm talking about. The navigating system in yourself that's going to tell you if this person in a shiny suit in real life, in flesh, is real or not. I don't care how shiny your check is. I don't care how dope your pen write. Your energy feel a little off, bruh.
Exactly. And I think
where
it's
you
really
come
funny. Let's switch it over to a health side as a devil's advocate thing I kind of want to play here, where if you feel a certain type of way of the prognosis, the diagnosis that a doctor is giving you for something, you go get a second opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot, I ain't gonna lie here. I don't know all the questions to ask. So a lot of times I go in, I'm like, hey, I don't know about this at all, and I need to know what should I ask.
Right.
Because they told me this. You can give me your opinion, but I need to know what I should go ask.
And that's on the duty of the artist. But a lot of cases, like to play devil's advocate upon that, you know what I mean? Looking at from the stance of the artist.
Well, the devil is busy.
This is literally the first person that's come to you with a contract. You don't even know who to talk to about a contract. Okay, so this is the first agent came to you with a guaranteed contract for 10K you could walk out of here with, and then they got certain shit of your streaming, but like they're gonna put your shit everywhere. Like, okay, this is my chance to blow. And who else do you have go look at that? Your mom?
No, okay, so boom. I mean? I'm assuming that right now we're in 2020. You have the internet. I'm assuming that you have somebody in your family that understands how to read this contract.
That is a
I'm
big
assuming.
assumption.
I'm not calling him a lawyer.
No, that's a
I'm
large
not calling him
assumption,
anybody that knows anything with a title. I'm talking about my cousin who do, back end insurance for the homies. You feel me?
That's a really
I'm talking
large
about
assumption, though.
the cousin who be knowing how to flip contracts for cars.
That's a really
Somebody's
large
an intellect in this
That's
family.
A really large assumption,
it's not a large assumption. We
yes,
black.
It is. That's a large assumption.
I don't
to
think
assume
so.
Somebody is gonna be ready to look over a music industry contract to get you signed as an artist.
I don't
be like,
think it's a large
man,
assumption.
Or they gonna be like,
if we
damn,
coming
you about to
from
get
a
10K.
situation where we don't know what's going on, then I don't know what I don't know, right? So I don't know that ain't nobody in my family gonna be able to help me with this.
So they gonna
because I don't know, right?
So
I might just be like, well, I heard Mommy was saying that Uncle Joe be doing that stuff with. Let me call Uncle Sue Auntie Sue, and say, Uncle Joe, what Uncle Joe be
thing
doing?
is, like,
you gotta know how to put yourself in position. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I feel it,
we come in with a lot of devil's advocate, but why? When all you gotta do is put yourself in position.
This is the persistent. This is stuff that people are thinking about on the back end. This is the people that you're listening to. People that are trying to listen to this right now. This is what they thinking of. This is all the thoughts that's going on in their head. Like, damn, well, shit. I don't know nobody who know how to look into this. It's the first agent that ever came to me. They promising me 10K. I'ma sign it. Blah. Okay, that's one step. Second step. Okay, that sounds a little crazy. Maybe it's not real. Let me get mom to look at it. Mom look at it. Mom like, well, you about to get 10K. Okay, bet. I'm gonna sign it. I'm gonna give her half. Wow. You know what I mean? You work it out through that. It was another situation. We like, well, mom, what do you think about this? Mom like, well, you should talk to your uncle, whatever, because they look like they might actually have something to say. It's all these different ways to go about it. And obviously with Meg, you know what I mean? It went the first route. You know what I'm saying? Or she went back all these and they kept running back to like, yeah, just sign it because that's 10K.
What they probably not saying with that situation is that she probably signed that when she was on some like super, super underground Megan when nobody knew she was already popping. Like I'm talking about before the popping of YouTube videos happened, before the freestyle videos on YouTube went viral. That's when she probably signed that contract.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? But that's the thing is like all that stuff is like, these are all the different possibilities that could have went down for her as an artist. Regardless, she knew she was popping. She thought she was worth it, though. And that's one thing as an artist, do not play yourself. You know what I mean? You look at that stuff, you might think this might be it. But like I said, when somebody shows you something glittering and it's shining and they tell you it's gold, but you ain't never seen it before, how you going to tell them it's not? You know what I mean? And until you do your research. But that's, again, if you don't know how to research shit, you don't know what you're doing. So this is
yes, you
that's
do.
the thing, though. The people that listen to this shit do not have these problems. You know what I mean? People who are out here listening to this podcast right now don't have those problems. You know, they don't have.
They probably had them and they don't have them no more
because they out here listening to this shit.
Yeah,
they're in the process of getting rid of those problems.
That's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, like, that's the problem that runs into these people that are already in that position of being this inexperienced and being new and being blind and inside the forest, not understanding the big picture. If you only seeing one blow of it, which is that 10K, you don't understand the 10 million you can make off a real deal. You know what I mean?
That's real.
That's them being able to see the tree, which is that 10K, but not being able to see the forest, which is the full 10 mil. You know what I mean? That's that whole concept of being so deep in it that you just like, man, I'm just tired. I've been grinding in this forest for the last 10 years. I've been grinding in the studio. I've been doing all this shit. I want to get paid. You finally got paid, but it ain't shit. If you would have waited another week, you would have got paid real.
No,
but
really
you don't know that, though, because you never got paid. So it's like it's a matter of understanding your worth, understanding what you can actually be, and don't play yourself at the end of the day.
But I mean, we ain't talk about faith in here because that's the answer on the I don't know. You do know. It's something telling you why it ain't happened yet. It's something that's keeping it from happening. So that's the answer. The resistance you feel is the answer. So don't try to counteract it because then you messed it up yourself at that point. That's your fault because you wasn't supposed to move, and that was supposed to be what you were okay with. But you wanted to challenge that.
That's the thing. When you get hit, stuff like that, when you get hit with tribute, I mean, think about how long they've been grinding. You know, these artists, man, that's what they as an artist. You know how it is as an artist to be grinding and pushing, and to feel like you're not getting recognition. That's the one thing. You may be getting it, but you may not feel like it because you're not getting the standard of what you feel like you deserve. That's the thing about the grind. You have to continue to grind.
Right. Because, I mean, if I'm running a marathon, I'm tired, obviously. But, like, I can't stop. Like, it's all these other people running around me. What I'm going to look like if I just stop running? Like
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's about finishing. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like, that shit is it's so crucial to keep that mentality because people get so caught up in that shit and thinking that it's something that it's not. You know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? You got to keep moving. It's hard to explain because it's like, when you that deep in it, man, you just want to give up. And when it looked like that's the finish line, it's like almost like a mirage. Almost like a mirage when you in the desert and you just so thirsty. You just think you see a fucking ocean.
But how close are you in your faith? That's how I feel. Like,
that's why part of you
how
gotta be
close
like, man,
are you in
no
your
way.
faith?
There's no way there's no way that ocean's real. You know what I mean? There's got to be something you got to be able to see through that shit.
Because in my opinion, if you do get so deep down in it, you getting closer to God in that moment. Like,
you born with that shit.
The reason why you deep down in it is because He brought you there. So
I feel like you born with the vision, be able to see through that stuff. That's what I mean. That level of grit, that level of determination, be able to push through.
Hey yo, real talk. Sometimes the water is not there, but it will be there. Remember when we was riding through Vegas and on the map, it said that there, on the map, bro, but bro, stay with me. On the map, it was like, yo, there's water here. And we drove by and we were like, there's not a drop of water. And then we kept driving. We started to look. It's like, this is not the time of, this is not the season in which the water is here.
Right.
So sometimes a well has run dry, and sometimes you need to wait. So instead of taking that 10K now, sometimes you need to understand that later on the back end, there's going to be a few more zeros added to that check. So don't run out for what that is right there, because that ain't it. That ain't it.
Yeah.
Learn to wait. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
That's
facts. That's facts. That's facts.
That was a prophecy. Yo, First Generation Millionaire though. That's the motto, I feel like, definitely for 2020 and beyond, because I feel like my generation has definitely generalized the whole like I'm gonna be a millionaire sentence, and I'm trying to create as many as possible and cultivate and bring as many around me as possible so that we can shape this culture and literally shape a landscape of the future that all of us like literally see in our minds in totally different ways. But the more that we come together and think of different ways to collaborate, like talking about these different topics, because financial literacy, in my opinion, is the main thing we all need to be talking about if we're entrepreneurs. That's the way that we're going to be able to shape this landscape and do all these dope things that we want to do. Yeah.
I agree. You know, it's about just being able to read it, man. You gotta be able to see it for what it is. And be able to take and learn when you need to learn. You know what I mean? Take knowledge when you need to take knowledge. So
Definitely.
yeah, it's savage, man. But is that it? Is that the first episode of the
I think so,
First Generation Millionaire
Everybody
Podcast?
wash your hands.
Yeah, wash your damn hands.
Please.
COVID, nah.
And don't sneeze in public or else people will jump you. It's a pandemic.
It's a pandemic, man. Yeah, also, we are missing another First Generation Millionaire that's going to be on the podcast with us. Tyler.
Young Tyler.
Tyler had to put some extra hours in. You know what I mean? That Rona got him working hard.
Listen.
Prepare. Feel it. But yeah. We'll come back and show him another episode in the future. You got any last words for him, Will?
If your well runs dry, just know it'll get replenished.
That's facts.
Yes.
I love it.
Focus and have faith.
Yeah, I feel that. So, yeah, one thing I'm going to say is that, you know, even if it sparkles, man, and it look like gold, chances are it might not be gold. You got to do your research. It might be fake. That shit might be fake. It might be gold plated.
It might be doing jewelry
You
checks.
might need to go check that. Do your research. Do your research on your opportunities, man. Everything that you have is not amazing. Everything you have is not pure. Everything and everybody trying to be in your system is not with you as their motive to try and help either. So everybody has their own thing going on. Keep your things in mind and keep yourself as a priority.
Yes.
Chia. Till next time.
Peace.
Jada, any last words?
I love you all. And thank you all for listening to the First Generation Millionaire Podcast intro today.
Chia.
We will be back with more.
Stay tuned.